How does a major Hollywood film studio spend $150 million to build massive, rolling cities on wheels? Hire the world-renowned visual effects team behind The Lord of the Rings, and recruit legendary filmmaker Peter Jackson as a producer, only to create one of the single largest financial write-downs in the history of science fiction cinema. This is the exact post-mortem of the 2018 visual epic Mortal Engines. Released worldwide by Universal Pictures, the film holds an infamous spot in corporate entertainment history. When the global accounting ledgers were officially closed, the project generated a staggering net loss estimated at $174 million. It was a cinematic failure of monumental proportions.
It's okay.
But this was not simply a story of a bad movie releasing to empty theaters. The financial collapse of Mortal Engines was the result of severe corporate hubris, extreme visual effects over-reliance, terrible release window scheduling, and a fundamental misunderstanding of intellectual property value in the modern blockbuster era. Today, we are opening the production archives and analyzing how a project with blockbuster funding completely vaporized a studio's capital. To understand how a project of this scale got greenlit, we have to look back at the immense industry influence of Peter Jackson and his New Zealand-based production engine, Wingnut Films and Weta Digital. Following the unprecedented critical and commercial triumph of the Lord of the Rings trilogy and the massive commercial success of the Hobbit films, Jackson possessed virtually unlimited creative capital in Hollywood. Studios were eager to back whatever vision Jackson wanted to adapt next. In the mid-2000s, Jackson acquired the film rights to Philip Reeves' acclaimed 2001 science fiction novel, Mortal Engines. The book presented a wild, inventive post-apocalyptic concept known as municipal Darwinism. A world thousands of years after a catastrophic nuclear event known as the 60-Minute War, where entire cities have been placed on massive caterpillar tracks, roaming the barren wasteland to devour smaller towns for raw resources. Universal Pictures and media rights capital jumped at the chance to co-finance the project, providing a production budget of $100 million to $150 million, with an additional tens of millions allocated for global marketing. Christian Rivers, a longtime visual effects supervisor and storyboard artist who had won an Academy Award for his work on Jackson's 2005 King Kong, was selected to direct. With Jackson producing and co-writing the screenplay alongside Fran Walsh and Philippa Boyens, the studio was convinced they had launched the next big multi-film fantasy franchise. Production kicked off in Wellington, New Zealand, using state-of-the-art digital assets and practical sets built across multiple soundstages. The artists at Weta Digital created breathtaking technical marvels. The moving city of London was designed as a towering, 80-level rolling behemoth over 1,500 meters tall, rendered with astonishing detail right down to individual rivets, smokestacks, and domestic neighborhoods. Visually, the film was an incredible achievement of world-building and steampunk aesthetic design. But behind the stunning visual effects lay a severe structural flaw. The narrative and character development were completely hollow. The story followed a scarred assassin named Hester Shaw, played by Hera Hilmer, and a lower-tier London historian named Tom Natsworthy, played by Robert Sheehan, as they attempted to stop the villainous Thaddeus Valentine, played by Hugo Weaving, from rebuilding an ancient superweapon. However, the film rushed through its world-building at a breakneck speed, prioritizing massive action set pieces over emotional character depth. Audiences were shown a spectacular, complex world, but they were given virtually no reason to care about the people inhabiting it. When test screenings took place, viewers praised the visual effects, but expressed complete emotional detachment from the core storyline. While creative shortcomings hurt the film's critical reputation, it was a catastrophic executive decision regarding the distribution calendar that ultimately sealed the movie's financial fate. Universal Pictures scheduled Mortal Engines to open domestically on December 14, 2018. This decision put the movie directly into the path of one of the most brutally competitive holiday box office windows in cinema history. Within a 7-day window, Mortal Engines was forced to compete directly against Sony's critically acclaimed Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, Warner Bros.' massive superhero hit, Aquaman, and Disney's family-friendly blockbuster Mary Poppins Returns. It was a fatal corporate miscalculation. Unlike Spider-Man or DC Comics, Mortal Engines was based on a niche young adult book series that lacked deep mainstream brand recognition among general audiences. The studio spent millions on trailers, but the marketing campaign failed to explain the complex lore of municipal Darwinism to casual moviegoers. When opening weekend arrived, audiences overwhelmingly chose established, recognizable intellectual properties. Mortal Engines debuted in domestic theaters in a miserable 5th place, bringing in a tragic $7.5 million over its first 3 days. The international box office offered zero salvation for the production. In key overseas markets like North America, Europe, and Asia, ticket sales cratered almost immediately due to terrible word of mouth. The film accumulated just $16 million domestically, and metadata reports showed an international haul of roughly $67 million, bringing its global theatrical total to just $83.6 million. Against a production cost that analysts estimated at $100 to $150 million, combined with a global print and advertising budget exceeding $60 million, the math was devastating. Because theatrical exhibitors retain roughly 50% of box office ticket revenues, Universal Pictures and Media Rights Capital recouped only a fraction of their capital. Leading financial tracking agencies in Hollywood calculated that, after subtracting all global theatrical receipts, home entertainment sales, and television licensing fees against total production and marketing costs, Mortal Engines suffered a net loss of $174 million. It surpassed historic box office disasters like The Adventures of Pluto Nash and Green Lantern, securing its place as one of the largest financial write-downs in modern studio history. The post-mortem of Mortal Engines remains a vital case study in modern film economics. It exposed the extreme dangers of relying purely on visual effects and famous producing names to carry a film, proving that even the most visually breathtaking world-building will fail if it lacks a compelling, emotionally grounded story. It also served as a stark reminder to Hollywood executives about the unforgiving nature of release scheduling. Trying to launch an unfamiliar, high-concept original franchise in the middle of a crowded holiday market packed with established comic book blockbusters proved to be corporate suicide. The rolling cities of Mortal Engines vanished from theaters almost as quickly as they arrived, serving as a silent, multi-million-dollar monument to Hollywood overreach. Was Mortal Engines the victim of a terrible release date, or did the filmmakers fail to translate a complex novel into a story audiences actually cared about? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Be sure to hit that subscribe button for more corporate autopsies, and I will see you in the next breakdown. Peace out.